You mentioned DARPA earlier. I know DARPA, I read this lady, Annie Jacobson's book about, she's a whole book dedicated to DARPA and some of the stuff that they do and some of the research that they've been doing for a long time. And one of the things that they've been focusing on is creating super soldiers. And they've been doing these invasive brain implants since the 90s to try to do things like mitigate pain, like to try to like reduce the amount of pain that soldiers can bear in combat, and things like hunger, try to like get past hunger to survive longer without food, and all kinds of things. So it makes a lot of sense that they would be interested in something like this.
Yeah, and I mean, I've just read a book called We're Electric by Sally Adi, which is absolutely just illuminating in so many aspects. And in it, DARPA is mentioned so many times as being so critical in this advance of this research and technology. And of course, a lot of it is done for military purposes.
Right,
you know, military communities are, you know, I kind of got a need for it. You know, the need for human augmentation in the military is a given. You know, the military have a lot of people that are, you know, breaking through stress. So there's a piece of documentation called The Dawn of the New Paradigm, joint piece of work by the Bundeswehr and DASA. And essentially it's, you know, identifies that we should be able to promote to our human biological limits. You know, people aren't doing that. You know, we're not effectively going to our full biological potential. Now, if you go beyond that, you talk about enhancement. So you can take people's eyes and laser them and get them to see in the dark. That's relatively easy, actually.
You get them to see in the dark?
Yeah, so you can just open up the rods so you can see better in the dark. You use the rods. Yeah. I mean, that means you can see in the dark, right? As good as many animals would.
I thought you meant like give them like night vision or something.
Yeah, night vision's you know.
How cool would that be if DARPA? I bet you DARPA's tried to figure that out. Try to make people get night vision in their eyeballs.
Yeah, well, the key bit is, could you do it biologically?
Right, exactly, exactly.
You can actually take a laser and open it all up quite a lot, perfectly safely, add more rods in that allow you to see in the dark, and you get better clarity at night. You know, night vision's come on a huge distance from when we first started. But you know, it's hard work seeing in those pictures that you see on, especially if you're doing it over such a prolonged period of time, and then you've got all your different levels of information coming in. The overall load on your brain to interpret what's going on outside it is getting pretty a lot, and it's acknowledged as, you know, a significant challenge that they face. Is we're opening up all of these abilities to sense and surveil and learn and, you know, all this, and be told something by something else. And the human brain is amazingly adaptable, and it can survive. But you know, whether it's neural,
LASIK,
so neural overload or whatever, you know, everyone talks about now needing to take creating a neurological reserve, even just to cope, let alone to condition. And you know, NATO's just released their statement on human enhancing technologies. You know, the importance of being ethical about it, but, you know, importance of, you know, looking after the soldier, looking after the militaries, ensuring that their welfare is good, but also their conditioning suits what is going to be required of them, and getting them in a good physical state, good physical conditioning, but also augmenting their biological ability. And there is no reason why you can't do that, right? If you're using, we can voluntarily do what we can do, and individually and biologically, on a biological level, we're all quite different. You know, we're all very, very similar, but the small differences between us manifest quite big in how we appear and how we behave, right? Yes. So, but using a technology, a non-invasive technology, to improve that conditioning, and it's no good in a set in the hands of a small set of people. It's effective when you make it available to the whole and improve them by 10%, 20%. You know, quicker in rehabilitation, more conditioned to do their role. If you're having, you know, a lot of back pain, or people falling from a particular condition, like a particular use in conditional to your role, so special forces community, you know, lots of climbing and jumping, does that result in bad knees? You know, okay, well, we can see that, so we can condition that to become less of a preventable injury as such. You know, and there was an interesting one we were brought with shelf people who worked in superstores who were putting things on shelves that are of a certain weight. They're getting this particular type of problem, and it's costing the company a lot of money, and that could easily be treated by the right physiotherapy advice and a very easy and accessible technology. And the point I made when I come across this technology, what really blew me away, and I must add that I'm not paid by this company at the moment. I represent them. I've become an ambassador for them as I was invited to do, and I was just taken by the potential that it offers in so many applications. And and in the use of this technology, the fact that you can render the membrane into anything you choose. So if you take female motorsport, for instance, they don't want to change the suit they spent so much money on development. So you have to make the set of technologies that offers this stimulus to be able to be rendered into the garment that they use. And that makes it quite special. It makes it very accessible. And what struck me at the beginning of being introduced to this technology is, well, one, it's a old and trusted technology. It's got no ethical contentions to it whatsoever. The risks are definable because they're well known. And it's affordable, accessible in the business units. It's the applications that we'll go into. And it can be delivered at effective scale. And that's a key question with technology. It's like, okay, well, is it great? Well, yes. Can people use it who need to? Yes. Can it be made affordable and accessible to them? Yes. And that's a key point in, is this technology effective? So, I mean, that's sort of Emma's Group AB. It's effective in the four lines is gaming. So gaming is very easy. Much like haptic, this is a beneficial stimulus going into a body. The waveform is extremely simple. It's a very simple product. Essentially, FIFA 24.
Yeah.
I mean, you get tackled and you just get a stimulus into your quad that's promoting good factors inside you as well. So it's not only an immersive gaming experience, we just made gaming healthy. So then you've got sports and recreational fitness world, where you've got sort of very focused programs on the pursuit of sports and recreational fitness, which is usually fat loss, muscle conditioning, all of the different pillars of health. But done at a certain level and done in a routine that makes sense to the user. So you can push it out in any model you want, but the safe brackets are written within the programs, So within this older technology, you get something called rhabdomyolysis, which is bleeding within muscles. That's only if you take it to extreme levels or you're biologically particularly vulnerable to that, and I would say that voluntarily you can give us rhabdomyolysis, by overtraining on in particular ways. So it's not just the technology, and the technology arguably doesn't make you any more susceptible to that, but it's easily definable and it can easily be captured in these programs. So it definitely has applications in sports and recreational fitness,